All right. I feel like so much has changed in my world, but it's actually mostly just superficial. Um, I've got my computer up more. I now have two monitors, and my iPhone, I updated the iOS apparently from like 11 to 26 because that's how we do that now. So everything is different, but everything is also the same. I can't go live on Instagram anymore. I'm not popular enough. And apparently, I can't go live on YouTube because I didn't ask soon enough. Sometimes. Sometimes. But still, we persist. Hopefully, you can hear me clearly because that's the other thing is that with the new monitors, sometimes it doesn't want to do the microphone and I can't figure out if that's working. So, if there's audio problems, the next time I do this, it'll hopefully be better because I will be more skilled. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We just always have to start with Maggie's technological frustrations. Today, I want to talk about the learning loop because I want to encourage you to break free from that and start seeing some results which learning alone will not give you. So, here's my story. So I was recently in a group coaching session. This is one of the ones I lead, and we always go around and share a success and a challenge of the last week. And I participate as well, so I have to share a success and a challenge. And so I made a confession. I was behind on my blog writing. If you noticed, I'm not doing this at the end of the month. We are now squarely midway through a month, and I'm talking about my blog topic. This is very atypical. So when I was having this conversation, it was still in October and it was unlikely that I was going to publish one by the end of the month. And spoiler, I didn't. Um, this is the reality of life. So, in that session, though, one of my clients turned my own advice back on me and she reminded me to stop overthinking and start doing. So, I did remove some roadblocks for myself, got some thoughts out the door, um, and also released attachment to the arbitrary timeline that I had. But we're not going to talk about that part right now today. It's just that sort of learning loop that I see people participate in because launching a business is not at all about perfection and it's everything about action. So, um, I myself, as well as most of my clients, are lifelong learners. We love soaking up knowledge, whether it's a new book, a workshop, an online course. Like me, them, we're the same here. I love learning. So it can feel productive and inspiring and an intoxicating balance of discomfort and safety. So that, like, outside your comfort zone, but tolerable, that sort of like golden area for learning, um, it can feel like you're really doing something. But if what you're doing is learning, then you're not launching your business. So I want to like make that kind of clear. So taking one more class, earning another certificate, all of this, it feels like progress. And in some ways it is, but adding that credential doesn't build your business, especially if you're just getting started, right? Like I could take a class and say, I'm building my business. I've been doing this for a decade. Um, my business has a lot of plates spinning, and that can be one of them. Um, because improving your skills at the service you offer is valuable. Of course it is. And that's not the same as finding and serving clients, right? So you can be the most skilled practitioner in your field, but if you never tell anyone about it, you're not going to have a business. This extends to the realm of self help. Another place I feel very comfortable. I've read my fair share of self help books, and I'm willing to bet you have too. They promise clarity and motivation and transformation, but more often they're delivering a temporary high. You feel like you've accomplished something by reading the book, even though nothing has changed. Or maybe you have experienced like an awesome mindset shift, but is there action following that up? So are you leveraging the like enthusiasm the book gives you to go out and get clients, or is it actually a nice self distraction? Um, and most self help books, like one of the underpinning uh, problems with them is that they give that false sense of progress. Like, oh, I read a book on it. I've put a lot of thought into it. I've spent this many hours, understanding this concept. Check. They also offer advice that's often common sense, but like actually really hard to do, right? That's like knowing about it and doing it are completely different. And a book can't give you accountability. That's the really vital missing ingredient that turns ideas into action. And this results in a cycle of consumption. You read a self help book, you feel this burst of motivation, you stall out, and then you buy another book, mostly to feel better. Which, if you're making progress with each burst of motivation, you can leverage this for movement. But if none of this is resulting in clients, this is just a prettier version of procrastination. And I'm not just going to pick on self-help books here. I'm going to pick on business books, which I've also read a fair number of. They have a similar problem. A lot of times they're written to promote the author rather than to genuinely help readers. They lay out one size fits all formulas, and I'll give it to them. These might have worked once, right? They worked for the author who's talking about them in their specific context for that specific person. But businesses aren't paint by numbers, right? One person's path to success is not necessarily going to be your path to success. If anything, there's a bit of like well, that person's already done it that way. It might not work that way anymore, or it might not work that way for you. So business books can give you the feeling that maybe you're not ready yet. Like, oh, I need to understand more about this. I need to read more. I need more planning. I need to refine the idea. I need to tweak the offer. And all while you're perfecting that, you're not actually selling anything. You're not taking anything to market and getting real results. Books can give you inspiration and frameworks, but they can't give you a business. Only you can do that. And when the rubber meets the road, only you can take the necessary actions and, frankly, fail the necessary amount of times before you succeed. Right? The difference between an expert and a novice is that the expert has failed more times than the novice has even tried. Right? We got to be willing to fall on our face, and learning doesn't let us do that necessarily. At least not that kind of cerebral learning. Only doing does. So there's this huge difference between learning and building. Learning your craft has a certain amount of value, but learning how to sell your craft is usually the thing that at least my clients are far more afraid of. Learning is a safe place. Learning to sell your craft is super uncomfortable. And courses and trainings often focus more on the craft of it. That's a lot easier to teach. It's a lot more consistent, right? Like, I have this goal, I'm going to get you there. If this is my method for starting a business, and then it doesn't get you there, that's a whole different challenge. This is the space I live in. This is the business part, the selling your craft. This is what actually makes self-employment sustainable. Otherwise, you're just a perpetual student, which more power to you if you can do that. But most of us need an income. And frankly, there's just not one skill or certificate that will have customers banging down your door without having to market your business. Like, there is no way that you're going to end up with the credentials that is going to make the action of marketing and selling your business moot. This is the part, no matter how scary it is, that we need to tackle. You can keep learning forever, but at some point you've got to put it into action. And that action means showing up, telling people what you do, and asking them to buy it. That means imperfect websites, awkward first client conversations, and trying things before you feel completely ready. And that's because that's how learning actually sticks. It's through doing. It takes accountability. It takes either a lot of internal grit or some external accountability. So, this is my challenge to you to maybe challenge yourself to stop learning for now. Just for now. If you're in that, initial start of a business place, um, maybe put the learning aside for a few months and actually challenge yourself on the business side of things. And don't get me wrong, learning has its place. You can pick that up again, right? Just a few months. But when you catch yourself hesitating to take the next step, waiting until you've learned, or just one more thing, or you've finished that book, like that's a cue, that's a flag. You don't actually need another book or another course or another plan. You need to start with what you have, where you are, as imperfect as that is. Your business, if you're in a launching phase, should be something that you have enough skill for. You do not actually need to go out and get more. If you have doubts about if you actually have enough, shoot me an email, send me a DM. Let's talk about it. Because there are cases. Recently, I spoke with somebody who's in training to be a mental health therapist, and we were talking about, sort of timeline. And she was like, "Oh, I need to finish my program first." And I was like, "Yeah, that one takes licensure. I'm not going to argue with your need to finish that credential. If for some reason finishing that is no longer on the table, we can have a different conversation about how to take your skills and apply it to a different business. But that's a different conversation, right? If you're launching, you don't need more skills. You need to get clients at the level that you have them, right? I launched my business before I had a track record of over 10 years of clients and success stories, right? That was hard to sell people on the idea that I could help them. But it wasn't impossible. I did it. I had people who trusted me based off of the skills I had at that time. So don't wait till you learn that one more thing. You don't actually need it. You need to start. Whatever you've been putting off, whether it's posting about your offer or sending a follow-up email or launching a service, take my medicine, take your own medicine, do it. You can always learn more later, but first, let's see what happens when you act on what you already know. And I think there's business in that. That I know there's business in that because this is what I do all the time. Okay, so that's my little pep talk for your Thursday. Oddly, in the middle of a month. If you're on my newsletter, you saw that I'm actually going to be shifting these chats and blog topics to an every other month cadence, trying to do like more of a 6-week process, which I plan to write about what got me to that decision, but I want more of a success story track record data before I talk about it. But yeah, that's teasers for the future. All right, folks, have a great Thursday, and I will see you again end of December or early January. All righty. Bye, guys.